Beach Community College District. This meeting is now called to order. If I can ask Trustee Dr. Tom Clark to please lead us in the flag salute.
You all please rise and place your hand over your heart and begin.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Okay, we met in executive session. There's nothing to report. If I can please have the roll call.
President Urunga,
Present.
Vice President Kellogg. Here. Member Bowen.
Here.
Member Clark. Here. Member Otto. Here. Student Trustee Troya. Absent.
Okay, we are now at public comments. At their request, members of the public may comment on items listed on the agenda at the time the item is discussed and prior to board action on the item. A 5-minute time limit will be allotted to each speaker with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject, unless extended by the board president. I have 2 speaker cards presently, and so I think we will be within the limit. I have Dr. Lynn Shaw, and she wants to discuss item 5.1.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Lynn Shaw, and I'm the president of the Full-Time Faculty Union. And I come before you today to say what a sad day it is at Long Beach City College. This layoff is of great concern to faculty because it's impacting all aspects of college life. While we did begin with 32 faculty on the chopping block, and we are now down to 15, it is still painful and a devastating blow to faculty and our students. 7 of these faculty are ethnically diverse, and this is especially relevant as we work to make our faculty reflect the diversity of our students. That's almost half, or 47%. These layoffs hurt everyone at the college, but it especially hurts the students. Students will have fewer programs to choose from. I know faculty and the community want a college that is rich in career and technical education, and all of the 11 discontinued programs are career and technical education. Those of us who are left at Long Beach City College are worried for our students. Faculty do not feel valued or respected. The morale is so low that some full-time tenured faculty are now in the final interview process for jobs at other college. You are casting aside 142 years of service. They range in age from 31 to 67. They are all men except 1 woman. Aviation, Ken Suji, 8 years. Dan Perkins, 13 years. Chris Oshida, 8 years. Robert Gibson, 6 years. Welding, Larry Gustafson, 11 years. Kevin Powers, 1 year. Auto Body, John Louie, 11 years. Rudy Sanchez, 14 years. Auto Mechanics, Pete Sparks, 10 years. Gabor Voss, 16 years. Danny Tan, 11 years. Diesel Mechanics, Dale Carlson, 12 years. Carpentry, Max Pena, 10 years. Interior Design, Juliana Edlin, 11 years. And Commercial Music, Charles Gutierrez, 10 years. Can you really say you are doing what is best for the college, community, faculty, and students? Once this is done, it can't be undone. Are we really following the mission of the college? I believe the faculty are losing confidence in our leaders. Thank you.
The next individual I have is Robert Covarrubia, and he also wants to speak on 5.1.
Good evening. My name is Robert Covarrubia. I'm a former employee, also a former student of the Pacific Coast campus. I did 3 years of auto body repair there.
I was in the trades for about 5 years in that field. I got tired of eating paint, so I went into refrigeration and air conditioning, and my career's over. I'm happy, I'm making good pension, there's no problem. The only problem I have right now is looking back and looking at what I have to look at today. I see 5 vice presidents, I see 1 president, and I see 4 assistant vice presidents. That's 10. When I went to school here and when I worked here, we had 1 or 2. That was it. Now, how can you justify spending $1 million for all these people? Mr. Oakley, you should be doing a better job, because you would need all these people if you did a better job. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I've been through 5 college administrations here at this college, and nobody had this much help. Honest to God, I can't understand it. It's unbelievable to me. I just, it just doesn't make any sense. Titles are titles, fine. You do it for money, you do it for whatever reason you want. But hey, you got people walking out here. And another thing, when you cut, why don't you do what the federal government did? Real simple. Cut right across the board. They have a big budget problem. We've had it for 5, 10 years. They cut across the board. They didn't select groups. Now, I understand that some classes are under-attended. Yeah, you cut there first.
We're talking about item 5.1,
Well, I'm
which is
talking
next.
about what I want to talk about, and I'm gonna be leaving very soon anyway, so don't worry about it.
You're going to be out of order.
Hey, Mr. Uranga, you're the one that came, when you first came to Pacific Coast Campus, you told me and a whole group that you were going to particularly look out for PCC. Particularly, you said it twice. Okay? What happened?
You're coming out of order, and I will address that at another
You're
time.
throwing the stepchild out. I've said what I have to say.
I'm asking you respectfully,
All right, I'm leaving.
you want to talk about the topic, fine. If you want to talk about another topic, that's another time.
You addressed me. You brought it up to me. I'm talking about the layoff.
Okay, let's talk
Why
about
is
the
it
layoffs.
disproportionate?
You have 2 minutes.
Why is it I'm asking that question, and I think you should all ask yourselves that question. Why is it so disproportionate? If the country can lay off people over what they're doing, and they're saying there's no shortcut, it's just the bottom and that's it. Why not do it here? You're being selective. You're selecting who you're laying off. You're picking on the trades. Look at the numbers. It's real simple. You've got all these trades going out the door. Those trades have been there since the 50s. I took trades down there in the early 70s. I've been a community member since 1960. I've walked across this campus as a little boy, okay? 5 years old. I know this town. I know that town. And what you're doing is unfair. Just look at what the federal government has done. That's all I'm trying to say, and model after that. It'll work out a lot better. Because all you're doing is making enemies. And that's not the right way to go. I've said what I have to say.
Thank you. That completes the public comments on agenda items. We will now move into Human Resources 5.1. This is an action item, resolution implementing layoff, terminating services of tenured and probationary faculty. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Now we go into discussion. I'm going to ask President Superintendent Deloy Oakley to please do a synopsis as to how we got here, why we're having this special meeting, and perhaps give us an overview of where we're at. I think that basically the public still continues to believe that these reductions are arbitrary, capricious, and they are not. There was a process that we went through, and if you could please give us another summary of that again.
Thank you, Board President Uranga, and I will try to cut through a year and a half of process in a short period of time, and I'll try to take only 5 minutes. But first of all, excuse me, the reason for the special meeting, just so that everyone is aware and the public is aware, is according to the Education Code, there are certain timelines that the district must comply with in order to properly notice employees and give them an opportunity for hearings. Those hearings took place recently, and in order to meet the timeline, we needed to have a special board meeting in order to meet the deadline that we have in order to notice the employees. And the regularly scheduled board meeting, being on May 14th, did not give enough time for that. So that is the reason for the special board meeting. Excuse me. Now, to the issue of how we got here, and yes, certainly I would agree with everyone who has commented and said that the faculty that are represented on this list today have given service and admirable service and given their life to our students here at Long Beach City College. And for what it's worth, I do thank them for that. The process has taken quite a while. We have worked through 4 years of significant revenue reductions at this college. Each employee group has been worked with to reduce the budget. As the gentleman earlier mentioned, many of the employee groups, and particularly the classified group and the management group, have taken furloughs, have taken pay reductions, have reduced the amount of overtime. There have been other reductions in force throughout the years, and certainly we approached through negotiations the full-time faculty union to determine if we could also reduce salary in lieu of other actions that we would need to take in order to get the budget reductions that we needed to over those last couple of years. So many of the ideas that Mr. Covarrubias mentioned have been taken into consideration. They've just haven't been spoken of so much in the last couple of months because these have taken place over the last couple of years and actually began back in spring of 2012 when we tried to resolve this through working with the bargaining units. Since then, the college announced that it would do a review to determine, to go through a program discontinuance process. The Academic Senate was notified back in spring of 2012. We asked through the Vice President of Academic Affairs to sit down with the Academic Senate to review the process to determine how we would go forward. After that, the College Planning Committee reviewed the criteria by which the college would review all programs. And just to ensure that people understand, the College Planning Committee has representatives from all the constituent groups at the college. Also, at the President's Leadership Council, which again involves all the college leadership, faculty, staff, students, we reviewed the program discontinuance process. We discussed the program discontinuance process, and we talked about the criteria that we would follow. We also have reviewed the policy, the regulation, AR 4024, that basically spells out the process. So we began discussing this back in spring of 2012. We asked the Vice President to begin the process. He did so according to Administrative Reg 4024, and then met with the other constituent groups, such as the full-time faculty union, part-time faculty union, and the classified union. When asked if we could have them sit in the process, we agreed. Furthermore, it was determined by the Board of Trustees that to continue to receive input outside of that program discontinuance process, that the board would request that each program be allowed to bring faculty, staff, students to the board meetings and present information to the board directly about their programs. So that was done for all of the programs. In addition, the Academic Senate, working with the administration through its Academic Council, determined that we would further expand the process by allowing for a hearing on campus with all the affected departments to bring information to the Academic Council and to provide as much data and information as possible for the decision-reaching process. So that, in a nutshell, is the process that we went through. And the process began with meeting with the Academic Senate to look at the process in spring of 2012. In September, Programs were identified through the Office of the Vice President of Academic Affairs that met the criteria that was determined by the College Planning Committee. After that process, there was 17 programs and 2 specific disciplines that were identified for program discontinuance. At that point, the process began according to Administrative Regulation 4024. There were meetings with the departments, with the individual faculty, which culminated in a recommendation from me as the superintendent president to the board, which included the 11 programs for program discontinuance. Along the way, we also looked at the budget and ensured that the college was aware of the budget situation. The program discontinuance and other cost-cutting measures were discussed in the Budget Advisory Committee. And so throughout, we have gone through several processes to get to this point. Now, I certainly understand, respect, and realize that many members, either the college community or the community at large, dispute the recommendation, dispute the actions taken, and have expressed concerns about the process. And I've certainly heard many of those concerns, most recently at the 2 student forums that were held yesterday and the day before at the Pacific Coast and the Liberal Arts Campus. And we're also been speaking with the Associated Student Body and their representatives about their concerns about the process. We are certainly open to continuing to look at the college's processes, but we've got to go through the governance processes that are in place at the college to review and express concerns about those processes. We have governance processes in place to ensure that we follow the education code and the regulations set forth by the Community College Board of Governors, and we do everything we can to comply by those regulations. There's also been comments made that there have been Brown Act violations along the way regarding the actions that have been taken. Those were raised by Student Trustee Troya. We have addressed those issues. We engaged District Council at the request of the Board President, and a letter was sent outlining the response from the district to all of the concerns raised by Student Trustee Troya, and it was made clear that the district has complied with all the sections of the Brown Act relative to the actions taken by the board.
Can we ask him to provide us with his proof?
Yes. We've also asked Student Trustee Troyer to provide us with any information to dispute the actions taken by the board, to provide any additional information that he says he has regarding the actions taken by the board. We asked him to provide that information by the close of business last Friday, and no information has been given to us to date. So we will continue to work with the student trustee and any student governance group that has expressed concerns, and we hope that we can continue to have an open dialogue to resolve questions about the processes that have been in place and the actions that have been taken. But that, in a nutshell, is the processes that have led to this. As was mentioned by Dr. Lynn Shaw, originally there were 32 faculty who would have been impacted. We made a commitment to work with the faculty leadership to reduce that number as much as we could. We reduced that number to 15. And so that's the recommendation you have before you today.
Eloy, can you also discuss some of the actions that the college has taken to ensure that the affected students are able to continue in some of those programs in those instances where they can continue here or elsewhere?
Yes, and if I miss something, if Dr. Peterson or Dr. Lowenstein can chime in, but we have gone through several processes to try to reach all the students that are impacted. First, we identified the universe of students who were some way or another touched by any of the programs that were impacted. We estimated that number at 1,600. We have tried to reach out to all those students. We have set up either individual counseling sessions, counseling meetings with groups, or brought counselors to classrooms. We have worked with the faculty and the deans in those areas to try to get to the students in their classrooms. We have worked with local colleges to ensure that our students would have an opportunity to go to those programs, specifically in in the aviation maintenance program. We have also scheduled courses during the summer to allow those students who are close to completing to be able to have an opportunity to take those courses over the summer and complete their educational goal. We've also looked at course substitutions that would allow students to complete their educational goals. So there's been a number of actions taken to try and reach those students. I understand that some students have expressed frustration and concern that either they have not been reached out to or are concerned about the information that they have been given by either counselors or administrators or other staff. So we will continue to try and reach out to those students to get as much information as possible to help them get to where they need to go. Ultimately, yes, there will be some students who are not satisfied with the options that they've been given, and we will do everything we can to continue to accommodate them and hope that in some cases they can look at programs within the college that are similar to the certificates or associate degree programs that they were in. But those are the actions that have been taken to date. I don't have specific numbers on how many counseling appointments or things of that nature, but be happy to bring that update back to the next board meeting.
Dr. Clark?
Mr. President.
You wanna say something?
Mr. President, this isn't the first cuts we made. How much cuts have we made on the academic side up till now? How many classes have we cut out? And how many students do we have on our waiting list?
Well, I think what you're referring to, Dr. Clark, is based on the revenue reductions we had over the years. We have had to cut over 2,000 sections over the last 3 years. We have had to cut enrollment by over 2,000 students, and these are directly related to the revenue reductions that we've had to face. Now, there's been questions about Proposition 30 and how will it affect us and allow us to again, serve that demand. I think that is certainly a long-term solution for the college, and we hope that it provides the revenue stability that we need. Unfortunately, the Proposition 30 funds will also go to pay down the deferment that the state of California imposed on K-12 and community colleges. They owe us at Long Beach City College over $25 million. So it's going to provide us slow growth. I think right now the Prop 30 funds that are on the table will allow us to add maybe an additional 100, maybe 200 sections, which is just a drop in the bucket of the course sections that we've had to cut.
Thank you.
If I can help out, I just happened
Trustee
to
Otto?
look at this in the last week. For 2012, 2013, there were 2,195 sections cut, or 32.1% from our peak enrollment of 0809 academic year. And I understand we have something like 4,000 students on wait lists at this point, and demand is increasing because of the economy.
Trustee Kellogg?
And I appreciate President Oakley's comments, because when Robert came to the podium, I was going to make just a response to that. And the one point about across-the-board cuts, as was mentioned, that was something early on we did talk to our full-time faculty about after going through all the other cuts with the administration, the classified staff, the adjunct faculty, and trying to protect the classrooms the best we could. And that was a good scenario to present, and I agree, it was rejected because, in fairness, I'm not a big fan of giving across-the-board cuts, because a full-time faculty member who works very hard is treated the same way as a full-time faculty member that may not work very hard. So those type of across-the-board cuts, I personally haven't really been supportive of, but it was presented and it was rejected, and with the full understanding that the next step would be going to a process with a discontinuance of programs. So it was a good point to bring up, and it was looked at, because no one here on this board is doing this because we want to. It's just a few years ago.
Mr. Corubias, please.
It was a
The
few years
discussion
ago.
is behind the rail.
So so that was something that did come up, and we did look at it. And as I mentioned, that none of us is making this vote here tonight because we want to. If anyone wants to argue whether there is or is not a fiscal situation, crisis in the state, we can argue that all day and all night. But there was a point, and I'm taking this from President Uranga, is that the other interesting, because you talked about programs, not to pick on you, but there's other programs about how effective they are. And if you've heard President Aranga make this comment, and I'll just do it again just to take it from him, but in the past 6 years, these 11 programs that we, and this is not the subject matter, but 11 programs, 2,500 students, 83 certificates. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's the hard data. So we move forward tonight in the last step of that process, but it's always unfortunate, and whether people want to argue whether it's we have to do it or not, there's no other way. And this is the step we have to take. Thank you.
Trustee Bourne, you have anything?
Yeah, I would just like to add that I understand the layoffs that we're about to vote on. They are connected to what's been voted on earlier in the program discontinuance. As you know, had voted against that. I had reservations. I still have them. There's not a lot of point in my repeating that at this point. So I do intend to vote against this, but I do want to make one thing clear. Some of the rumors that have been going around apparently about the recall effort of the 4 trustees that I disagreed with on this issue. I don't know if somebody has said that or if it's just something that people would assume. I can understand why they would make that assumption, but I do want to clarify, no, I have not in any way been a part of that effort, and no, I do not support the recall of my colleagues.
Okay. I'm president of this board this year, and we have a very difficult decision to make. It's been hard, and it hasn't been popular. And in fact, it's been unpopular. We touched a nerve out there in the community, and I really want to express my appreciation for the community to come out and for the students to come out and fight for what they believe is right. But let me tell you something about my story. You know, I grew up in East Los Angeles. I went to schools in East LA. I was trapped in those days. I was in a position where I couldn't take any math, I couldn't take any English because I was tracked to take vocational ed programs. I took metal shop, wood shop, electrical shop. I even took a food service, home economics class because I was directed to those classes. I didn't have a choice, I didn't have an option. But I want to say that we had an icon in the Latino Chicano community who died not too long ago, Sal Castro. Sal Castro recognized that back in the day. He knew that our students, our Latino students and minority students, could do a lot more than just take vocational classes. He knew that we could do math. He knew that we could do English. He knew that if we were able to get away from being directed into those classes, that we would succeed. And because of his efforts in the walkouts, I participated in the walkout. My school walked out. We had a change in education and a change in the school board in LA, where Chicano students will now be able to enroll into English classes and Spanish and math classes and pursue a college education. To this day, I still even hear, and sometimes it irks me that I hear people who say, well, not all students are made to be college students. BS. Every student who wants to pursue a college education can and should, and not be directed to say that they're just going to be in a vocational class. Because even in vocational classes, which reminds me of another icon of the Latino movement, Chicano movement back in the day, Jaime Escalante, you all know his name, by Stand and Deliver. He said, anybody and everybody can be a technician, but those individuals who know how to read, who know how to write, and know how to add will be the boss. All you need is ganas, the will, the wanting to. And it still irks me to this day when I go to my body shop or I go to my mechanic, and they say, I wish I would have gone to school. And I say, well, you can and you should have and you did, and you learned a trade. But they're good technicians. But if you really want to be the boss, you still need to take the math, you still need to take the English, and you still need to take all those other courses to round out your education. It's not only about vocational ed, it's about education, period, everything. That's what it's about. Now, why am I so emotional about this? Because I was one of those students that wanted to be directed into voc ed, and if it wasn't for an icon like a Sal Castro to fight for me, to fight for my ability to go into enroll in the classes and eventually end up in a university, it wouldn't have happened. And what we have here is these programs are failing our students. They're expensive. People are getting salaries and not producing anything. 83 certificates and diplomas when you had 2,500 students go through these programs. That's it. That's a shame. Not something needs to be done. And what ended up happening here is that, you know, everything that you've heard, all the aspersions have been thrown at this board, all these actions have been thrown at us, all these misinformation, all this misinterpretation of data and facts to just make a point, to just embarrass and throw aspersions at this board are false, because there's only one agenda. And that's the agenda, is just to embarrass this board for what we need to do, because what we do is the right thing to do. Because you might not consider that what we're doing is for your benefit and for the benefit of students. It actually is. Because there's a lot more to vocational ed than just know how to cut wood or cut sheet metal. There's other things as well. There's English, there's math, there's reading, and there's writing. Those classes need to continue, and I hope that you students who are here would also think about enrolling in those classes, because if you complete those educational courses, you will be the boss. All you need are the ganas.
President Yarger, I did need to respond to what was said there, because this raises yet another issue of a concern that I have, both in terms of the future of vocational ed programs here and in the entire community college system anywhere here in California. And it touches also on my background as a K through 12 teacher about what is hurting education at the K through 12 level so badly, is the backlash against the very legitimate point that my colleague brought up about something that was just absolutely horrible a generation ago, about the automatically tracking people based on the color of their skin into certain programs, saying, well, they can't do academic programs. This is the kind of stuff that they're right for based on race. And I understand the frustration with that, but I think in the 30, 40 years since then, and I've seen it happen in my profession, we've responded to that by taking this, and it's not just Trustee Yaranga, it's the entire education system. We've acted like, well, that means that vocational ed programs in general are something that we need to shy away from. And the idea that everyone needs to be prepared for a 4-year college. There's nothing wrong with people who want to do these programs being directed to them. No, there isn't. What's wrong with it is what Trustee Yaranga said. What was wrong with it is that we just assume, based on the color of their skin, this is what these people are going to, these people are right for this kind of job. And we've now, and the other damage it's doing, and I see it happen, is the K through 12 system is based on this assumption that 100% of all students are going to go to a 4-year college. And because less than 100% of all students are successful, that's why our public schools are failing. That's why we need vouchers. That's why we need to get rid of teacher tenure. That's why we need to put in place all of these things that I am personally experiencing, that if you fire all the teachers, things are going to get better, where we can get into a system where 100% are going to go to a 4-year college and nobody will have to be in some lowly vocational ed program. I mean, it's ridiculous. So it's not that I am unsympathetic to the concern that Trustee Yaranga raised. It is a very legitimate concern, but we have, in the generation following, misinterpreted the injustice, and we've gone in another harmful direction, and I look at this as manifestation of that.
Trustee Kellogg.
Well, I just want to try to get us back on the subject and what we're doing tonight, and also remind everyone that Our programs at Long Beach City College are vocational. It still amounts to these cuts. We still have, if you look at our entire curriculum, it still amounts to 87% of what we had previous to this. So we still have here at this college a very robust vocational technical educational curriculum. It is still available. If people want to take welding, you can still take welding. It's just no longer going to be part of a program. So I don't want people to walk away and think that vocational education is no longer existing at Long Beach City College, because it is, and it's still strong, and it will continue to be strong. And I just think it's interesting, this whole conversation. If I bet I took all of you and did a survey and said which one of these 5 members up here was heavily involved in manual labor in their life, I'd probably be the last one you'd be picking, but I was the manual laborer. I went after college, I went into the oil fields working, and I could probably still swing a 16-pound sledgehammer better than most people and do all the things. So there is a role for it, and it still is alive and well in Long Beach City College. And I don't want anyone to lose that point, that what we still offer at this college and will continue to offer at this college. Thank you.
Trustee Otto.
Yeah, I just wanted to provide some numbers to emphasize the point that Trustee Kellogg made, and that is that we still have a strong career technical, career technical education program here at Long Beach, the Long Beach Community College District. There will be 37 career technical education programs after this vote is taken. There are 59 CTE areas of emphasis. But the most important statistic, I think, is that even through this continuance process, we have increased the number of available certificates and degrees. In 2011, the Long Beach City College offered 148 certificates and degrees, whereas today, as of now, we offer 182 certificates and degrees. So we continue to support this kind of education. We'll continue to do this. We've been in a CTE review process for over 2 years now, and we're making this program better. It's an important part of what we do.
Okay. Good points. I think we're ready for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, 4-1, motion passes. Thank you. There is no need for a second session. Move for adjournment.
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.